Welcome to Rauta's 85 reviews. This time all of these releases I have here ready for you are more or less black metal. Well, some of them are kind of a hybrid, but black metal is the name of the game more or less. So let's go in alphabetical order and we'll go to Sweden first. This one is Devil's Force with Singles Collection 2016-2019. This is one-man project. Pierre Törnqvist, who takes care of everything on this album. Now, he's known for various bands, but none of them are exactly big. So this is not one of those solo careers by, like, Bruce Dickinson or the like. This is just, more like an experienced veteran of the genre or scene doing some melodic black metal. One can even say this is a combination of heavy metal and black metal, and this is indeed a singles collection, not so much a traditional album. Now, all of these songs, which I will show you in a bit, have been released previously as singles. You can see 8 tracks here, and all of them are or should have been available somewhere before this compilation, so it kind of makes sense to put this out now as a collection instead of doing an album. But whatever, whatever counts most is the music. Now you can see there is one cover song that is War by Battery. It's quite alright, but clearly the band's forte is where this person does his own music, the kind of a ways he wants to express, and that is melodic black metal. One could say it's speed metal or heavy metal. Doesn't really matter in which way you box it. The thing here is it's lots of traditionality going on with this music, and in my opinion that's the best thing here. Instead of going so many ways, like the second wave of black metal, it all sticks to these killer melodies which are flirting with so much in the 1980s ways. One could say it's even older, but definitely early 80s is, in my opinion, what this reflects the most. And some of its killer solos or melodies or whatever riffs are really, really nice. Then again, they are also fillers among the killers, so it's not like very consistent in high quality all the time. Overall, pretty decent, pretty good album, and there's a good production, solid vocals, but something is still missing, in order to be great. Definitely worth checking out, so in case you like melodic stuff, go check it out. Then we go to Latin America with this band called Funeralis. This is the debut album, and what I was reading about the band, this is so-called Luciferianism, or band related to Luciferianism, so not your everyday Satan worshipping or church burning album so much or band. And this one is gateways to the Esoteric Light. So esotericism or those more Gnostic topics are the name of the game here. And this is a band that has put out an album which is more than 60 minutes in total. It's quite a ride, and not in necessarily only in good ways. Now the thing here is, this is mostly black metal operating in somewhat melodic ways also, but it's kind of a darker and a more sinister, definitely not so much heavy metal and speed metal ways. There are also some death metallic parts, especially when you take account some of the riffs and even a little bit of growly vocals, even though there are more raspier parts as well. One could even say these guys are flirting a little bit with war metal things, so it's overall a bit chaotic here and there. Now, in my opinion, this is a potent band, but this release is not exactly putting out the best of what these guys could do. The thing here is, it's kind of a mess. It's kind of like too much all over the place. So it's like this. One ways they're going that direction, and then they're going the opposite ways, and then they're heading that way, and then again back that way. Now, some people might like this kind of chaos symbol ways, like you have like 8 different directions, and you're just experimenting with a lot of things, and in that ways it might justify this 65 minutes or so overall length. But in my opinion, they're going a little bit too little in each of these directions. Not exactly, kicking down the doors and fences, but more like a little bit trying different elements, and everything becomes more like you might some days go to a certain place, but not with this one. Also, the production is somewhat, problematic. I mean, it's not exactly weak or horrible, but it's more like, yeah, it makes sense on some riffs, and then with some riffs, not so much. Like, for example, the melodic parts are kind of clear and crisp, but they also make some of the riffs sound rather weak. And in my opinion, it's not so easy task to tackle, but with proper producer, better studio maybe, they could nail it and take all the parts together. With this one, I would say it's rather okay release, but not better than that. Then we go to United States of America with a band called Echushkya. I have no idea how to pronounce this. Echushkya. I don't know. This is Earth and Sea, and it's a compilation of the two first releases by this very project. And when I say project, I mean solo project, because this is one of those one-man operated things, which is much like the previous band Funeralis, going a little bit too much in different places. Basically, if you want to go very simple with this one, we could say it's atmospheric black metal, but I think that's a little bit too much simplifying the whole music here, because once again, this is experimenting in so many ways. There are faster tempo parts, there are parts which are slow like doom metal, and there are lots of mid-tempo parts. Some of the stuff is very melodic, some of it's more energetic. One could even say some of the parts are kind of like post-metal. So it's definitely going different places, and that kind of is understandable because it's a compilation, and none of these tracks are just made for this album or compilation only. But that also shines through the very fact that this is made of the two first releases by the project. And as such, it's hardly something that would tell you the story about the band later on, when the band has actually, evolved or progressed into different levels later on. But this is a good way to get to know the band. The final CD product, as you can see pretty much from those images and all, looks pretty goddamn nice. I mean, it looks so much nicer how the music actually is. The music isn't bad, but it's much like the Funeralis album. Like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's very easy to listen to, but it's more like this kind of a background music. Because once you start focusing on individual riffs and the songwriting as a whole, it doesn't really, work very well. I mean, it's very much having these problems when you kind of give it a more analytical, critical ear, and like, why is this, very mediocre melodic part here? Why is this riff even being used? Because it's not really good. And then you have it for 75 minutes. It's just too much given the quality. I mean, if this was the best of Burzum compilation, everybody would be like, yay! But it's not. So it's not bad, but very, very okay release. And then we go to Finland with the band called Rotten Moon. And that's pretty awkward name for a band, because I don't know how moon could rot really, made of stones and rocks. Anyway, this is actually originally a demo, which was then again later on released as a tape, and now also on CD. And the CD is by Wolfmund Production. Previously, this seems to be operating as a like individual self-financed thing, as a digital format, but tapes and this CD version are under different labels. Now this one is raw black metal. It's very much clear that this operates still on demo level. It's one person doing kind of a raw black metal and lacking the budget for a proper studio. So everything sounds very much like homemade, like in your garage studio maybe. It's kind of very raw, not only in terms of the songwriting, the riffs, but also production. Everything sounds kind of like powerless. Not exactly crappy, but not exactly good either. Then again, it's your very, very typical demo. I mean, if you go back to 80s or 90s, you figure out that demos didn't sound that good back in the days. And that's what's going on here. Because those riffs are quite simple, and then there are very, very simplistic use of keyboards on the background, it makes a little bit me thinking like first Judas Iscariot CD. I mean, I like the music, but the playing on the album, especially the drums, are like, what the heck is going on? You just had to kind of turn a blind eye to that and just enjoy the riffs. Now, the biggest difference between Judas Iscariot and Rotten Moon is that while Judas Iscariot has some great riffs and I can totally dig the atmosphere in that one, Rotten Moon not so much. I mean, basically this CD doesn't have any good riffs. It's not like it's filled with bad riffs. That's just pure mediocrity. And when you combine that with kind of a raw and a little bit weak production and very, very basic screamy vocals, which are, in my opinion, mixed way too much on the background. They should be more brutal and more on the top, more on the front to say like, ah, instead of, ah, you know? And that, in my opinion, kind of emphasizes the weakness on this particular CD. It's, once again, not bad, but very, very mediocre one. And so far on this whole Indie 5 video, the weakest one. But, I mean, none of these are that bad that you shouldn't give it a go. Just giving you a little bit of a heads up. The last but not least is a band that I have previously reviewed. It's Shadows Ground from Ukraine, and this is their new album called Wanderer. It's also released on Schatten Cult production from Germany. Underground Ukrainian black metal, says it here. And while those previous albums, one from 2017 and one from 2011, which was a reissue by Schatten Cult, they were pretty okay albums. They were not much more than mediocrity, but this one is taking a step up. Once again, this is very melodic black metal, very much like 1990s second wave worship. Not exactly mind-blowing, nothing is surprisingly anything here. Everything is very, very much on the middle road. Nothing too extreme, nothing too energetic, but just kind of a basic, you know, fast tempo with some mid-tempo parts doing melodic black metal. Kind of like the basic standard of what you would expect when melodic black metal is mentioned. Nothing really like too catchy, nothing too memorable, but then again, nothing is annoying or a little bit off. Everything is really like, okay, hey, I'm good with this. But if I would go back to this, like after a week or a month, would I remember any of these tracks or even these riffs? Not so much. In my opinion, this is kind of a bland CD in that sense. So it's kind of like a safe bet on melodic black metal. Once again, nothing, absolutely nothing is filled with flaws here, except if you count lack of really, really good songwriting to be part of that. In my opinion, very, very easy to listen, but also easy to forget. Decent production, decent vocals, everything is just decent here, but not beyond that. But if you like melodic black metal, why not give this one a go? So all in all, nothing really shines on this package of Indie 5. Everything is just okay or decent. If I had to pick a winner of all these 5 releases here, I would say Devil's Force. So if you take a look at or listen to only one of these ones which I presented you here, go to check out Devil's Force. But really, all they have their moments, so give it a go based on your personal favorites. And what can I say? I hope you like at least some of them. Now, go outside and enjoy the summer. Take care and stay healthy.